I'm going to now watch a very long comedic scene from the play that goes wrong, and it has three playwrights, so I want to get this right. It is Henry Lewis, Henry Shields, and Jonathan Sayer. Um, I watched this through once and was laughing the entire time. It gives me a lot of noises off energy, so let's just see about comedic timings and patterning, how we use the stage in a scene like this where it's literally about the play that goes wrong.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to introduce myself.
I just have to say, this entire scene is such a shout out to all the theater nerds of the world and all the things that either have gone wrong in your shows or you're terrified will go wrong in your shows, and making a huge joke of it, and is hilarious to me. I might be building it up a lot, but I'm not, because it's amazing. This is a great first moment for this scene that's just gonna build out. We start with this one person. What a way to draw attention when you can't even see someone's face. It's almost as if you're drawn to focus on him because, oh wait, he's not in his light. He steps into it in the perfect timing, I might add.
I am Chris Bean, the director of the Cornley Polytechnic Drama Society, and I'm delighted to be presenting to you this evening an extract from The Murder at Hamersham Manor.
He's doing a great job here of taking in the entire audience, and let's remember what taking in really means, why we say that phrase. It's because when you look at another human being, you're not looking at them. Your eyes are actually taking in the light. So when you look at another person, you are taking them in. That's where that phrase comes from. And he's doing a great way of connecting with the entire audience. And obviously, this is a huge theater. You've got everyone in the orchestra, you've got probably multiple balconies, and he's making use of every corner. And it's a great way to center yourself, too, and fill the room. A very physical way of reminding yourself how big you need to be in order to fill the space that you're in.
My directorial debut.
Thank God they laughed. Because that's something I think is the hardest part of comedy, is that people don't laugh at the same things every night. And there are some things that you are sure they're going to laugh at that they don't. And especially a show like this, where you might take some cues off of the audience as part of the script. I would have loved to see how he reacted if there was no audience participation there. Right when he's taken in the audience, it allows him to listen to them, which is something that in a show like this, it is important to listen to the audience as well, because you're going to be taking a lot of cues off of them, whether it's pauses for laughter or reactions planted in the middle of a joke.
I'm thrilled to be presenting this piece because, as you can see, we have managed to secure a much larger budget than usual, so we will certainly be able to outshine our rather underfunded 2014 production of Roald Dahl's classic James and the Peach. Or last Christmas's The Lion and the Wardrobe. Or indeed our summer musical Cat.
So he has three little punch lines in there. And I'm going to take that as the same way you would if you repeated a line in a song or something, or repeated it in a monologue, any kind of dialogue. Make everyone different. And he does a great job of that. So I'd say for that moment, making each punchline different from the last in rhythm, pausing, however way you want to do it in texturing of your line, as long as they're different. They can't be exactly the same, because that goes into another note I would have, which is, in shows like this, do not play to the joke. Like, don't act like you know it's funny, like you know it's a joke. Take yourself a little bit too seriously, I guess, is some way of putting it. He obviously seems distraught at the fact that, and embarrassed by what they've had in the past to put up. He was given this little introduction to read, and these are the parts of it he dreaded because he has to dwell on what failed in the past. So he has a serious, real story behind that, as opposed to, oh, if we did a low budget production, it would just be cat, not cats. Ha ha ha. He's not playing to the joke, he's playing to the reality of the moment.
Anyway, on to the main event. So, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Not yet. For the murder at Havisham Manor.
So good. This is where having the proper stage hands and lighting designers is so vastly important. There's a little bit of actor in all of them too.
Charles! Florence, I'm sorry you have to see him like this.
My fiancé. Are you sure he's dead?
And something I've noticed in this scene, even the first few moments, is that even though everyone is a farcical character, they're a different kind of farcical character. Everyone's dramatic, but in their own way, and they have their own affectations. We have the classically dramatic ingenue of the story, the femme fatale. One that stands out to me a lot is the guy currently up center stage, who looks kind of like a butler, who doesn't really know any of his lines. We'll have another guy who's obviously very new to being on stage, and the victim of the moment, who is dead on the couch.
I'll take his pulse. Charles gone. What a horror. There's no question. He's passed away. I'm dumbfounded. He was as right as rain an hour ago. But who on earth would want to murder him? He was so kind, so generous, a true philanthropist.
We must telephone the police.
And I love the texturing of the lines that guy says. The guy's looking at his hand. I love that he's being very actory, and they're all being very actory, but it's a more unique, like, fake, horrible acting kind of voice, as opposed to the classic, like, I don't know what I'm saying. Because I feel like that's so overdone. You have to add a little bit of some different texturing and diction and dynamic to the line to make it original and fresh and funny. And this is becoming a game of what the frick can we do to this poor guy that's supposed to act dead on stage.
Inspector Carter's already on his way, although I imagine it must be difficult to get here in this snowstorm.
I'm going to be pointing out beats throughout this. In this snowstorm, beat. I think it's great. It didn't come immediately. It had its own little button. It was good.
Where is he?
There's such a genuineness to that guy. He's not making fun of people that are experiencing their first time on stage. It is his first time on stage. That genuine energy is what makes that moment funny. It's not just that he's playing a guy who has never been on stage before. He is acting as if it is his first time on stage. Remember, we're playing moments as if they're happening to us. What if I was in this moment? Not, what if I was a guy who's never been on stage before? What if I was in this moment? Playing the what ifs.
My brother dead? It can't be.
We have beautiful stage pictures playing out here. We're not clumping anybody together. Everyone has a task to do in the moment, even if it's just overlooking the scene. They're actively involved. We have a great visual of, even though it's a farcical show, it should have very beautiful moments to look at, especially if you're going to be playing multiple moments on top of each other, which we're going to see later on in the scene a lot more of. We're playing levels and dynamics, and the energy shift is just flowing nice and evenly because of the way we spaced out the characters and shaped them.
Always tried to hide it, but his depression must have finally have overcome him. I believe it was suicide.
It's true. His smile was often merely a facade. But now...
Again, we have the playing off the audience's energy, which is a great thing to do. Like, there's plenty of times in shows where playing off of what the audience is giving you is the best tool in the world, especially in shows like this.
But Mr. Havisham, do you think there might have been someone with the means and motivation to kill Charles?
Nonsense! It's nonsense. It was suicide.
What's hilarious is this guy that's come in like he's never been in a show before is probably one of the most gifted actual actors on stage, because he's playing up this wonderful physicality, this like stammering, nervous energy, but it's centered at the same time. He's not just a mess, it's a well timed out, hilarious mess.
There's no need to squabble. We're sure to get to the bottom of this now that the inspector has arrived. We're sure to get to the bottom of this now the inspector has arrived. What a terrible snowstorm. I'm Inspector Carter. This must be Charles Havisham. Take the body upstairs so I can examine it.
Yes, Inspector.
Are there any ideas as to the cause of death, Inspector? Could be a number of things.
I don't have all day to play out exactly how that whole shift happened, but can we watch one more time how we went from one beat to another and everybody moved in this beautifully like organic choreographed stage direction? I love when everyone has something to do and it looks so natural but so well organized.
We're sure to get to the bottom of this now the inspector has arrived. What a terrible snowstorm. I'm Inspector Carter. This must be Charles Havisham. Take the body upstairs so I can examine it.
Yes, Inspector.
Beat shift.
Are there
There
any
we go.
ideas as to the cause of death, Inspector? Could be a number of things, Miss Collymore. As soon as I've finished speak to everyone individually.
I just loved that vocally. That was such a brilliant moment to bring the physicality and the voice together. And it was like one cohesive unit, all four of them involved in that moment. It's so funny.
And then you can get some space to calm your nerves.
And let's remember, stuff like that didn't just happen whenever it happened. To calm your nerves, rip. When it comes to a show like this, it's so much physical comedy that you have to work the lines and the physicality to work off of each other. So you have a lot of physical action going on, so it kind of has to act as another line would in a show. Your cue line is this for this.
Thank you, Inspector. This is all more than I can bear.
I shall return presently. As soon as I've finished examining the body. Well, thank you.
This is definitely one of those moments where I would say take your time. A second on stage feels like a lifetime, but if it feels too long, it's not long enough. And he takes so much time to stand all the way up using his full spine and then shuffle out. It's just so elongated. He's not worried about how long he's taking. Never worry about it. Because in moments like that, we want to take an exhaustingly long amount of time because people are with you. Obviously, you can tell by the audience.
Thank God they've all gone.
Oh, Cecil, I can't bear this. I can't take it a moment longer. If they find out about our affair, we'll be suspects.
Two things here. One, we'll be suspects. Beautiful beat. Beautiful beat. Some serious choreography that probably took a freaking lifetime to get down pat. And then also just like, it's not even that they're all pausing for laughter. They are, but at the same time, they're just taking their time to move beat to beat because they can. The energy in the show is so naturally far up, and they've started at such a high. They can take their time getting place to place. We don't want frantic. We want well done, spread out energy. These moments of pauses are brilliant.
What's the matter, Florence? Calm down. Stop shouting. She's having one of her episodes. Snap out of it. You're hysterical. Miss Collymore, where are you going?
And it's really nice to see them all. They're like frozen in fear and don't know what to do, but it's also emphasizing the fact that she's doing absolutely nothing because she's passed the hell out.
Come back here this instant. She's run off. Officer back, you stay here, Cecil. I dare say the inspector will have some questions for you. You were Charles's brother, after all.
Well, do you have any questions for me, Inspector?
Yes. Yes. You and your brother, did you get along well?
Up in town, there was rather more strain on our relationship when Father died, and it was certainly no secret that our father cared for Charlie more than myself.
I see. This is your father in the portrait, is it not?
It is.
He looks a bit of Charles, doesn't he?
He did ever since he was quite young, yes.
You were the junior by 4 years.
Almost 4, and didn't I know it? Charles would patronize and embarrass me throughout our time.
And especially in our main guy here, the inspector, who was the guy talking at the beginning of the play, you can tell by the way he subtly reacts to everything that he's reacting as himself. Like, you can tell that this play means a lot to him. The success of it, especially with what you find out about, we did this low budget cat and everything at the beginning. Part of what makes this so funny and believable is seeing the real actors reacting, not the characters within the play. It's a very complicated thing of layering an actor on an actor and a character on that actor, and then playing to the stakes of the real person in the show. What a convoluted way to think. But it's beautiful when it works. And let's keep in mind, stage combat number 1, the victim is always in charge, so she has to be doing something in this moment that's preventing her from getting hurt and helping them do what they need to do easier. And you gotta love how this is, again, we have her, she's now the apex of the triangle. She is upstage, but she is centered at the top of the triangle, so that is the main focus of action, while we have this thin veil of actual performance that's supposed to be taking place. It's a great 2 moments overlapping each other, and the most hilarious part to me, honestly, is probably that this is the best moment in the show so far. This is probably the first time that a scene is going the way it's supposed to at the forefront.
Suggesting I had something to do with his murder, then you're mistaken.
I see. It's a dark night, says you.
Inspector!
You can barely even make out the trees.
Yes, but what are you saying, Inspector?
I'm saying, Sir Solomon, I need to pack it up for the radio umbrella.
Please, I don't know we had our differences, but deep down you can't put another.
You had no hand to film, see? This letter was got it on yourself that I found in town this morning. Indeed, as it seems, Dean Charles.
And all of that shouting and chaos was obviously timed with the lines because it ended on a perfect moment. Again, dialogue, physical acting, one and the same, honestly. Especially when it's in shows like this.
Well, bravo, Inspector! Oh my God! Well, bravo, Inspector! You found out about Florence and I, but it proves nothing. We had nothing to do with Charlie's murder. But do you really think that we killed him?
Perhaps, but for now at least we are one step closer to solving the murder at Habersham Manor. Go!
The rule of thirds. 1, 2, 3. That is comedy, and that's all you need to know. I can't wait to see this entire play, because I am determined to see the rest of it after seeing this performance. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Here the video ends and the work begins. Let's support each other.